An ambitious accountant orchestrated a massive financial trap for his billionaire client, completely unaware that Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, which focuses on financial literacy and the life or death difference between assets and liabilities, would turn his greed into a perfect backfiring nightmare. Jack and Mike were corporate partners in a real estate empire. Jack knew Mike was a genius at making millions, but possessed zero financial intelligence to understand where his money actually goes. Jack leaked a fabricated tax audit, forcing Mike to sign over his liquid cash reserves into a secured trust accounts managed by Jack, allegedly to protect the money from a government asset freeze. Mike trusted the professional and signed his own financial death warrant. When a professional offers an emergency financial shelter, look at his hands, not his eyes. A wealthy investor thought his cash reserves were completely safe, completely blinding himself to the warning in Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, that high-paying clients ruin themselves because they buy toxic liabilities, thinking they are acquiring solid assets. Jack locked the financial handcuffs tight. He used Mike's signed authority to purchase high-end luxury liabilities, sports cars, elite country club memberships, and massive private villas, all registered under the company's operational debt. Mike was driving a supercar, feeling richer than ever, while his actual balance sheet was bleeding out behind his back. Jack was deliberately inflating Mike's lifestyle to create a massive debt bubble. Greedy minds create corporate illusions to strip you of your real assets. A millionaire woke up to find himself legally drowning in millions of dollars of bad debt because he ignored Robert Kiyosaki's law in Chapter 2 that cash is completely useless without the financial literacy to protect it from internal predators. Months passed and Mike's luxury lifestyle became an unsustainable monster. Jack purposely structured the corporate cash flow so that every single dollar Mike earned from real estate went directly to pay the compounding interest on those luxury liabilities. Mike was running a multi-million-dollar rat race, working 18 hours a day just to maintain a fake lifestyle, completely controlled by his accountant's hidden strings. Relying on cash flow without understanding equity accounting means you are building a mansion on sinking sand. The terrifying reality of Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad is that knowing how to make money means nothing if you lack the financial literacy to see how your own employees are weaponizing your numbers against you. The ambush finalized at a high-end luxury restaurant. Jack handed Mike a legal foreclosure notice. Accompanied by a cold smile, the luxury cars and villas were now defaulting, and the bank was officially seizing Mike's remaining personal properties to cover the company's debt. Because Mike never learned financial literacy, he couldn't see that Jack had legally insulated himself, leaving Mike to face the federal prosecutors alone. A brilliant businessman was officially ruined and left with zero assets, proving the brutal law in Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad that true wealth is not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep and control. Mike confronted Jack, demanding an explanation for the missing millions. Jack didn't panic. He simply laid out the certified financial statements. Every single loss, every toxic liability, had Mike's signature on it. Jack had legally used Mike's cash to buy out the real assets under a separate corporate registry. In less than 5 minutes, the millionaire was legally stripped of his net worth by his own accountant. A broken tycoon stood in the rain outside his seized mansion, realizing the ultimate lesson of Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, that financial ignorance is the ultimate weapon of corporate extortion. Mike lost everything while Jack used the legal loopholes to buy the defaulted assets back through a shell company for pennies on the dollar. Mike fell exactly into the trap, working for money without ever learning how money works. He thought liabilities were assets until the trap snapped shut. Welcome to Kellely Story Lessons. Read Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, master financial literacy, and always stay ready.